Hickok 45 here. .44 Magnum. Bullseye. All right. Gone. Whew. Hot. Yes, Hickok 45, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful hills of Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, all of Tennessee, all of the planet. Yes, the home of Ronnie Millsaps, Pat Summit, Davy Crockett, and a lot of cool people, right? And a few lowlifes we're probably not proud of, right? Like are from your state and every state. Always those, always both sides, right? So it's good to see you all out here in the woods. It's beginning to feel like fall in the air, at least today. Goes back and forth, as you might know if you have lived in Tennessee. The weather changes dramatically. One day it could be a high of 50, next day a high of 70, and even more extreme. One day, as you can tell from the videos, there could be all the leaves are on the trees. The next day they're not. There's no leaves on the trees. The next day, next video, you see there's looks like fall leaves, colorful leaves, and so we get a lot of variety, in Tennessee if you've not been here. So glad you're here today, and we all survived another Sunday, right? Or you would not be watching this. I would not be standing here, right, with my .44 Magnum Model 29 that most of you are quite aware of. I was in the mood to get it out and shoot it. I just haven't. I guess I fondled it lately, even. And, and I was thinking about the timing on it, too. It's September, and it's getting close to the end of September, right? We're on the 26th. So I actually bought this on the 30th of September. I couldn't take possession of it early October, back with the weird waiting period even in Tennessee. And so it was October. I think of it as October is when I got this gun, but I actually bought it. I was looking at the record, September the 30th of 1974 at a gun show in Nashville, back at the fairgrounds, back in the old days when they had the gun shows at the fairground, before all the woke politicians came into office and closed down the fairgrounds or closed down the gun shows at the fairgrounds. And now it's turned into a soccer stadium anyway or something. So the fairgrounds are no longer really the fairgrounds in Nashville. But anyway, the good old Model 29, I've had it 47 years, according to my Kentucky math, okay, as of this month. 47 years, actually, as of this week, right? So I'm hoping I can make it for the 50th anniversary. Wow, we'll plan a big celebration, okay? Pretty cool to have a gun for 47 years, though, that you still like and enjoy and shoot, and you've shot it so many thousands of times. And when you hold it, it just still feels really good to you. I remember when I was, I had it new, and when I was 24, when I was 34, 10 years of it, or 20 years of owning it, and it just still felt good, and I always enjoyed getting it out to shoot it. And it's pretty cool. A lot of people don't even live to 47, much less have something they enjoy for 47 years as an adult, and be an adult for 47 years. And so it's cool. It's really cool. We let so many firearms go, as I've talked about. We trade them off and want something new and different. And then we regret trading and selling them, which I've done with so many firearms. But this one I managed to hang on to because I liked it so much. I'm a little envious. I see people all the time in comments talking about a firearm like one that we're demonstrating that they've had for 40 years or 50 years or something like that. I was one the other day, gosh, someone had bought, it was a cool gun, Python maybe, like in 60s or something, and they still have it. You know, I thought, wow, it's cool to hang on to something that long, and it's kind of the way this one is. So I'm going to keep bringing it out, shooting it every now and then, because it still shoots just as well as it did the day I bought it. Okay, I might shoot better than the day I did, the way I shot the day I bought it. I don't know. So it's the shooter, right? It's not the firearm. The firearm could be a limiting factor, of course. Mostly it's not. Mostly we blame it on the firearm, don't we? If we cannot hit anything with it. Now, it could be the sights. That's a big factor. The inherent accuracy, meaning just the capability of that barrel and that firearm, is usually fine, good enough on almost any firearm. But sights can be really bad. They can be off. They can be great sights, but they're just off. You need to adjust them. They can be hard to see or something. You could have a horrible trigger. You know, the grip could not match your hand very well. I mean, those kinds of things affect how well you shoot it, but not the inherent accuracy of the firearm. Is that people are always, I mean, I think most people, when they use the word accuracy, that's what they mean. They just can't shoot it well. But my brain always goes to this, you're saying that gun is not accurate. You know, when someone says it's not an accurate gun, I traded it off. You know, I mean, I always want to say, no, that gun's probably more accurate than you are. I don't care what it is. If it's a high point or a Seiko or whatever, it's probably more accurate than you are, unless you're bench resting with a scope and sandbags and all that. But if you're standing and shooting, there's not many firearms that won't shoot as well as you can. It's kind of my thinking. There may be exceptions. So, but that's what I default to and think of. Inherent accuracy, just the capability of the firearm, right? And definitely there are firearms I shoot better than others. And I might shoot a firearm better that is actually inherently less accurate. Maybe the barrel's not lined up as well, or it's got a muzzle defect or something. It may not be as accurate if we put them in a ransom rest, put it beside another one. It would not group as well if it was in a vise kind of device. But I might shoot it better, okay? Because there's so many variables when you're just shooting offhand. Wow, your steadiness and when you let the trigger break and the sights and grip and all that kind of thing. So how'd I get off on all that? I don't know. Glad you're here though, and I hope you saw I hit the bullseye. Isn't that amazing? So it proves it's accurate. Hit the red. The trigger pin broke on me. Oh gosh, that's been, I don't know, 8-10 years ago at least. And Jeff Wally over at Guns and Leather repaired that for me. I haven't had it blued yet. You might be able to see it. Just need to really kind of touch it up with a blue stick or something. I'm not worried about this being perfect. I'm not going to refinish it probably. But you know, still shooting. But anyway, yeah, we need gunsmiths to work on all sorts of firearms. You know, it's like I would guess it's like a lot of the trades. I don't know. I don't keep up with it maybe as well as you. You know, so many of the trades, hands-on trades, are desperate for more people. You know, if you're contemplating going into college and majoring in political science so you can sit around and argue and debate politics, maybe you should rethink that. Think about working on cars, gunsmithing, air conditioning, all that stuff. It's very lucrative fields, good money, just working for other people. And then also potential to easily, well, not easily, but start your own business once you really learn what's going on, and as a lot of people do, you know, do something useful and in demand, and nothing wrong with you know, working with your hands. I've done a lot of that. Yeah, I taught a lot of years, but I've done a lot of hands-on construction, painting, mixing mortar. I was a hod carrier, as I told you, helping bricklayers, helping carpenters, all that kind of thing through school. And then even did it for about a year just on my own. strictly had business back when I was in my 20s or 30. And between teaching careers there between teaching and publishing is for a while. But I've done a lot of hands-on work. I have climbed so many ladders and in so many precarious positions, really. I shouldn't be here. But I mean, and I enjoyed it all. There were days it was tough. It was nice. It's always nice being your own boss, too. Because I was a contractor and I, bid on different projects and things, and especially in painting. I made good money, and I was my own boss, and managed my own deal. It's hard to beat that. It really is, because as you probably know, something happens to people when they become managers of other people or administrators in education. Okay, if they had a brain beforehand, it gets weird. Their brain gets twisted once they become responsible for other people or departments. Right? Yeah, it's tough. Well, part of that is just really tough being in management. I've been there, and you have so many things to think about, and the people that are working for you on your team, whatever, they don't always see the big picture, of course, everything. It's so easy to sit back and criticize, because most of my life I have either been totally independent, like now, or worked for other people. And so I've been like on both ends of the scale most of my life. So I have a lot of experience working for other people, or having managers, all the way up. And it's so easy to second guess them, right? And criticize them. They don't know what's going on, kind of thing. Well, they have to look at the big picture as they answer to their boss and their boss and their boss right on up. And so it is tough. But then again, a lot of people don't handle it. It's hard to handle for anybody and do it well. But there are a lot of people who don't handle it well at all. I don't need to tell you that, do I? Yeah, and think about it too. If you're really not good with people to begin with, you're not a people person at all. You don't even like people. Wow. Being in management really turned you into a monster, right? In their eyes. So it's tough. It's tough. So I don't know where I was going with all that, but anyway, we appreciate all the people that help us out. Ballastall, Talon Grips, and John's Comedy. Remember, he's going to be at the Comedy Catch in Chattanooga on October 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, hosting there. So I hope you catch that. And gosh, I don't know what else to do. I'm going to shoot again. This thing is fun. Okay, I shot Magnums. I might shoot a couple of specials. No, let me shoot some more Magnums first. 6 more Magnums. These are pretty warm. Magnums are just warm. So what's interesting, I'll tell you, if you're fairly new to firearms and you see all these big guns, the 500 Smith & Wessons and 460s and everything, you just think you're not a man unless you have one of those and shoot one. 44 Magnum is enough. It is enough for most applications. I mean, I don't know what you'd be hunting or just doing that one of these would not be enough. I mean, it could be. They are stout. As you saw, I'm gonna get me a hog with one. Got that hog. See it rock that hog. I see a 2-liter down there. It's been sitting there for about 2 weeks. If I hit it or just knocked it, shook it off. Boom! Propane tank. Woo! It's hard. Am I empty? Let's see. That didn't sound empty, did it? 44 Magnum. There are the empties. Big old cases. Tell you what, 44 Magnum is just a nice cartridge. 44 Special, and that's been proven for many years. Elmer Keith learned it, and so did many other gun writers and shooters. Really versatile. And now, when I say 500 Smith and all those, I don't mean to imply there is no use for them. Why are they here? Get them out of here. The one thing you do gain a lot of power with a 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. Well, you get a firearm that's heavier than this, for one thing. So it's not apples to apples. And if you put a hot 500 Magnum round in this gun, this weight and everything, whew, it really kicked. That's one thing about the X frame. It's a big old heavy frame. And you look at the barrel on those things, and if you get one with a long barrel, you got a real chunk. So that does absorb a fair amount of it. Same with the 460, right? So I think it was one that seems to hurt me more than any others. And again, it was the weight of the gun, I guess, but was the 454 Casull. I had that was a Ruger for a while, and wow, that thing hurt. John and I both did not enjoy shooting that. And I had traded a Fort Campbell soldier something for it, or just bought it from him, I forget, but the Toklet, yeah. He lent it to us for a video, and then I decided I had to have it. Yeah, really. And I shot that some more. You've seen the video with it, maybe. And I traded it off or something, or sold it. I just didn't need that guy. It wasn't fun. Shooting should be fun, okay? I hope you learn that, if nothing else, from us, that shooting is fun. So what was I going to talk about? Speaking of shooting, I was watching an episode of The Rifleman. I know a lot of you are fans of Westerns or just good action movies, but I was, I don't know what this relates to. It was just another random topic, right? And it was, you may have seen it, I guess it aired this week. I don't remember whether it was the Western Channel or the Me TV, is that what it's called? It's almost unwatchable on those channels because of the commercials. I mean, it is if you don't record it, and then even if you record it, you got to fast forward through about as many commercials as you do show. But anyway, early on in the story, there was a guy, bad guy, the it was the Domino Kid, something like that. I need a name like that, the Domino Kid, don't I? The Hot Brass Kid or something. But anyway, this guy comes up on him. The bad guy, the Domino Kid, was an outlaw. Okay, a very bad, wanted outlaw. And there was a price on his head and all this. And this guy was trying to get a bounty. He wasn't typically a bounty hunter. I don't know. He just needed the money. I forget what. In fact, I don't think I finished the show, or I had something come up. But anyway, so he comes up on him with his rifle. And he actually seems a little shaky. He's not exactly a professional bounty hunter or lawman or anything, and you wonder what's going to happen. But he tells him to get up, and of course this guy's really cool, like what he's doing. And you just know, and he's got this big pistol, fancy rig right there by him, and you just know he's going to pull it out and shoot this guy. No, he doesn't. He acts like he's going to get up, follow the command. And he gets up kind of on his knees and hands, and the gun's over here at the left, the shooter's over here, the good guy, okay? So he gets up on his hands and knees, and then he turns and goes for his gun real quick. Well, the guy shoots him, of course. Well, it turns out, he's kind of got his back to him as he's reaching for his gun, so when he gets shot by the bounty hunter or whoever, this guy, townsperson, the bullet hits him in the back. Well, imagine that. And it wasn't. So anyway, it was just interesting because the whole premise, the reason I bring it up, watching Westerns and things and movies, Hollywood does what Hollywood wants to do. And writers, they create a story, a narrative, just like our media does and politicians. A narrative that fits whatever they want and whatever point they want to make. It's just funny. And The Rifleman is generally really good and with great writing, and it's just a good show. It has what do you say, not weathered well, but aged well. I mean, you can watch that now. It's just as enjoyable as any time in my life watching it. Maybe better because there's so few good shows now, in my opinion, right? But the whole premise of the show then becomes, he gets back to town with this guy, and tells about it, and they see that he was shot in the back, and it's like, oh, first of all, that he was going to be a hero, I think, and everybody was amazed. You got the Domino Kid, but then they realized he had a bullet in the back. Oh, he shot him in the back, and then he was like this pariah. Nobody would talk to him, and making fun of him and everything for shooting this guy in the back. You know, what's wrong with this picture, you know? But that's the narrative, that's the story. You know, you got a 10-year-old or a 20-year-old or 15-year-old kid watching a show like that, and I don't know, and I was the same way. I remember watching these shows early, and there was nothing worse than shooting somebody in the back. And you had to let that bad guy turn around and give him a chance to draw, and then the good guy or the sheriff or whatever would draw and win, of course, usually. But you had to give him a chance to draw his gun, right? And that's not exactly the way the world works and ought to work. You know, it's probably one reason there's so much controversy when there's a shooting, you know, a police-involved shooting with a citizen, where the citizen just has a knife or something. You know, because some of those shows and the movies and different things act like a knife is nothing. You know, or they'll even talk about it. Well, all he had was a knife. You had a gun, you know, and it's like this incredible disparage, this force, you know, and then shooting somebody in the back. It doesn't matter what the circumstances was. You're just a lower form of life if you were to do something like that kind of thing. But it's just interesting watching these shows and how Hollywood does. And again, the Rifleman's usually not like that much, but. You think about the logic. You got to use your logic, critical thinking, with whatever kind of media you're taking in. Young people and old people. If someone is right there and they're a really bad guy, and it's my job, or I have chosen to, maybe they're in my house or my property or whatever, to hold them for the police or whatever it is, or if I am working as a policeman. And there's a gun right there on the other side of him. I say, hold, freeze, don't move, you know, whatever. He goes for that gun. He is reaching to grab that gun. Why? So he can quickly grab it and shoot me. So am I worried about where I shoot him? No, I have to stop him before he kills me, right? So it's just interesting. Some of the other things, you know, one of the biggest things in the Westerns was this myth, this entire premise about shootouts. Some of you haven't seen many Westerns, you may not know what I'm talking about, but it was who was faster on the draw was the big deal all through the Westerns. You know, you'd be watching, we could name 20 different Western series or movies, and this is just part of it. How quick someone is on the draw. That's everything. That's everything. It's how quick you are on the draw. Whoever is faster is going to win, right? Is going to survive, and the other person's not. And so, you know, you're talking about split seconds, you know, determining who the winner is going to be and who you would mess with and who you wouldn't mess with in that saloon and the argument or whatever. When in reality, there were very few face-to-face gunfights. Hickok, coincidentally enough, he did have a couple of those, was called out or something. But that was a really rare thing. Almost never happened where two guys would face each other in the street. All right, you go first or you draw, or, you know, and see who wins. Guess what? They're both going to lose, right? Handguns are just handguns, and even large caliber. And people don't even know they're shot sometimes for a few seconds. And they're just going on with what they're doing. Then they may bleed to death. But the point is, you got a couple of guys standing facing each other. I don't care if one of them is twice as fast, right? I know I'm not telling you anything, but I might be if you're 10 years old or you're 15 or you hadn't thought about this, or you're 20. You're both dead, probably, right? I mean, a good chance of it. You might be the fastest gun in the West, in other words. And that was like being Superman, you know, in the movies. You might be the very fastest gun in the West, and you're going to go up against a guy who is who is 3 times as slow as you, however you want to say that, okay? Well, he's just likely to kill you. You might get him, but he's just as likely to kill you, okay? So they wouldn't do that. The sheriffs, Matt Dillon, how many people has he been in a shootout with in that series? He always wins, of course. But he's not necessarily going to be faster than everybody comes along. And even if he is, he would be dead after 3 or 4 gunfights like that, standing and facing, the saloon or the street or whatever, because he might be the fastest, but the guy doesn't die immediately, and he gets hit in the chest, he's gone. It's all based on the premise that a bullet is like an atomic bomb, okay, or it's like the ultimate stun gun. As soon as that bullet touches your skin, you are incapacitated immediately, if not sooner. And whatever you're doing, you're in the process of drawing your pistol, okay? Here's my revolver. I'm in the process, and I'm about to take aim. I've got the hammer cocked. It's a single action. I'm about to pull the trigger, but that bullet touches me somewhere, anywhere, that I freeze. He beat me. I'm dead. Doesn't work that way, does it? Even if my gun's not out of my holster, I get shot here in the stomach and I feel a little bit of a pain, but man, my adrenaline's flowing. Boom, boom, boom. I might kill him dead in a doornail. And then I go, oh, wait a minute, he hit me too. I bleed to death maybe, but it's irrelevant. You're both dead. Okay? Now, I'm not going to charge you for that piece of information. But I know you were worried about it and you were curious and wondering about that. But anyway, it's just on my mind. I've watched the rifleman. I got to stay off the westerns, don't I? Oh man. What else? Can I shoot again? I'll tell you what. I shot some Magnums. Can I shoot 44 special? 44 special. That round, that cartridge, that it's reached mythical status. It's these are Federals, of course, and I have loaded a lot of these too, and I load 6 double action, but and I still say a lot of the reason so many people love this round is it's nice to shoot. It's a big bullet and it's a soft shooter, and it is very accurate, but I still think that myth of it being the most accurate round of all time in some people's eyes, it's largely based on how easy it is and soft it is to shoot. You're often firing it in a 44 Magnum, not always, but in a bigger gun usually. And it doesn't knock you around much, and I don't know, we just tend to shoot it better. So let's throw one of these out the gong, and you'll notice a difference in how long it takes to get there. I've done this before, I know, with other guns, or maybe this one. But let's do it again. Yeah. A little more delay. So you're actually getting, I guess, I'll have to watch the video, as painful as it is to watch my own videos, but I would say that sounded louder to me than the 44 Magnum hit, what I'm trying to say. Okay, the earlier 44 Magnum rounds I put on the gong did not seem as loud as that as far as the ring on the gong. And your lesson is why? Figure that out, right? Nice. Wow, look at that 3-shot group. Y'all may not be able to see it. I wasn't even trying. Again, a lot of that is because I'm not anticipating any recoil, because there's not going to be any in this big gun. And say what you want, that makes a difference with you, me, anybody. If I could change out that, if I could magically make that a 22 long rifle, it's the same deal. It's just so soft shooting, and I just tend to shoot it better. With the 44 Magnum rounds, as much as I shoot, and I guess I didn't flinch or have any horrible misses when I was shooting the 12 44 Magnum rounds, but you're more likely to. You're more likely to, even an experienced shooter. So back to the question I asked, and I've explained this to you before, but some of you probably have been tardy or truant, you have missed the show. You've missed one of the Sunday shoot-arounds, so you are not as well informed about firearms. So you need to get back and check them out. There's only 90 of them. They're at least an hour long, so you can just catch that up real quickly one morning, right? Again, it's the sound of the boom, the blast. The firearm is so loud in Magnum, right? A Magnum is louder than a special. How's that for brilliant deduction? Well, and then also, just as importantly, the bullet from the 44 Magnum gets there sooner. So that loud report from the round going off and the bullet hitting the gong, they're happening at almost the same time. Okay, the sound has not subsided, and the gong's hit, even though it's hit harder. It's all kind of together, at least, especially for the shooter. It may sound a little bit different for you, but with the special, you don't have as loud of sound. Boom, and it's, by the time the bullet hits, it's pretty quiet, and so you just hear the hit on the steel. Again, no charge for that. All right, so pretty cool. Okay, anything else I wanted to bend your ear about? Oh man. Speaking of media, I always like to talk about media if something happens. A poor gal that ended up dead. Now we know she's dead. That couple that was traveling across the country, I forget their names, and doing a blog or something, YouTube videos, and all that. Well, a couple of lessons there. One of the lessons, of course, is be careful who you hook up with. There's a lot of sick people out there who don't appear sick, right? Right, ladies, you know that, don't you? And guys, you know that. There are guys that seem fairly normal, but man, they get crazy, especially about women. Get crazy and possessive and just crazy in general, maybe. And I don't know, there's all kinds of dynamics there in psychology I'm not qualified to address, but we just know it happens all too often. Guys that are just insecure, sick, low self-esteem, idiots, I don't know what all a mixed bag of all that, I guess. Have violent tendencies. You can sort of tell. That's the one thing. It seems like every time someone pops up and does something really violent or extreme like that, whether it's killing somebody, or, well, we don't know what went on with this, I don't know, but whenever that happens, or they end up being a serial killer, whatever it is, all the stories come out, don't they? Of course, they get investigated. And they are that person that people were a little worried about. Sometimes, they're just quiet, kept themselves, and everything. But the people that actually knew them, they did have tendencies towards, like, they're the one that was torturing a cat, or burning frogs, or whatever. Now, a lot of us guys have probably done some things like that we're not proud of when we were younger, maybe, but not on a regular basis, and not getting any thrill out of it and that kind of thing. I remember shooting birds with BB guns and stuff. We did. We're just more enlightened now. We don't do that kind of stuff senselessly, anymore. Most of us, I hope. But it always comes out. There were signs of kind of a violent nature, that you have to watch for. But the main thing I was going to bring up about that, though, didn't mean to get off on the psychology of it, but is everybody in social media, again, is presenting this wonderful life, right? And so we really never know what's going on for sure, right? Everybody looks so cool on social media. That's pretty funny, except me. No, but I mean, really, people, they present their coolest side, They just do. Facebook, you name it. They're you all know that, the stories and all the psychology behind that. It's been exhausted, I guess, but it's just we need to remind ourselves, don't we, that not to be. I talked about that last week about that, but people seem to have a perfect life sometimes because they're presenting that glamorous side of their life, and it's just not always that way. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We all do have fun with the camera and Facebook. That's part of the fun of it, right? You go on vacation to Florida. You post pictures of yourself and your friends or spouse or whoever, girlfriend, boyfriend. Eating dinner and surfing, or that's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean you're sick or anything. It's just, but you can tell some people maybe a little too much into that, right? And presenting an image that maybe it's not real, or maybe it is real. They're just a little too stuck on themselves. To me it seems like sometimes. But anyway, you never know. You never know, right? What's going on with somebody? We all can learn from that. Be aware of that. And all that mixed in with just the internet in general, and how crazy that world can be, the Wild West of the internet. Everybody trying to, when I say everybody, it's not even an exaggeration anymore, is it? It used to be an exaggeration, but how many people are trying to make? I've been studying some other things, looking at videos, like on generators, because I'm trying to figure out what generator I want. I had one I had throw away, I don't know, a year or two ago, and haven't replaced it, and or gave it away. I've been shopping for those. I run into these people. They travel around the country, it's like I don't know, demonstrating or using these things, generators, things like outdoor equipment, and they're just tons of people that do that kind of thing out there, making a life on social media or YouTube, Facebook, or wherever it all is, Instagram. Maybe being a model or reviewing equipment, kind of like we do, on YouTube. But it's just incredible. Everybody is into it in some field, and there's who knows how many other areas that I've never even stumbled across. People are doing that. So everybody's trying to get clicks, trying to make a part-time job out of it, or a full-time job out of the camera, and it just gets all in that same mix of the Wild West of the internet. So it's a crazy place. And then you got the political stuff, everybody screaming and trying to get their voice heard and their opinions out there, and everybody's getting radicalized to some extent. In a way, we talked to you a few years ago about how some people, if they're already a little prone to going off the deep end with some strange, I don't know, religion, philosophy, or whatever that could have violent tendencies or whatever, getting radicalized by hanging out on the internet and certain sites that would help radicalize them, maybe to do violence or whatever, okay? In a way, it occurred to me, we're all social. I guess that's one of the things about social media, what it has done, and why everybody's so crazy and in their corners and so opinionated now, and hating each other, hating the other side. How it's got, we're all so divided. In a way, that's what's happened. Social media in general, it has radicalized almost all of us. Is kind of what's happened. Now, we're not all ready to do violence or something, or blow up buildings, but we've all been kind of radicalized, I think. It's that phenomenon of the social media and the sites that we go to, the people we hang out with. We're constantly feeding and seeing and being fed the word, whatever the word is, or the gospel of that philosophy or that political side. We're just constantly absorbing that and feeding it and pushing the same thing back out. So we're all kind of getting radicalized because we have that constant access to all of our like-minded friends. Quote, friends, right? Unquote. Anyway, that's just one of my perceptions, okay? It's time for me to have another perception, 44 Magnum, okay? I mean, I've got this baby out, so I've got to shoot it. I wonder how many lifetimes this thing would last. Maybe when John is like my age, he'll be out shooting it in front of a camera, Maybe even he's had it for 47 years. He'll be out still firing it. I hope. All right. I hope it's still legal, right? All right, these are Magnums. So let's roll a pin or something. Oh boy, jumped off there, didn't it? Oh, here's an orange 2-liter sitting here that needs to be blown up. Ouch. I hope y'all can see that there's a gallon jug over there. Yeah, y'all can see it. I'm going to pop it. It's on my left. Emptied that jug. Let's see if we can hit the gong again. All right. Oh, I got another one. That means I've got to hit the gong again. All right. That thing still is a good shooter. It has been for a long time. This fire might be one of the reasons that well, it's really not. It's one of the reasons that I got so radicalized in in the firearms world and enjoying firearms and shooting maybe, is because 74 was pretty early on, and this 8 3/8 inch barrel, it is it's just always, you got a long sight radius. So even back when I was a very average shooter, and I'm just a little above probably now, there's so many people that can outshoot me, by the way. I say that and I mean it. But it enabled me maybe to be better than I really was early on, because that long barrel and long sight radius, it just lends itself to some good shooting generally. And that might have helped hook me, on shooting 44 and big bore and just in general, just shooting, slinging lead, because it's a little more fun, if you haven't noticed, when you hit occasionally, It's like going out to shoot some basketball. If you're just never hitting the basket, how long are you going to stay out there and do it? If you're hitting 1 out of 10, okay, had enough of that. It's not as much fun. So I earned the right to shoot some more specials, didn't I? All right, anything else I was going to bore you with? How about young people? Do I have any advice for young people? Oh man, I don't know. I don't know. Do I? I think I've given that advice before, but it's always true. Is be careful of always saying the life or the grass is being greener somewhere else. Protects everything I've talked about before. Changing jobs. Really, there is no perfect job. You're going to have people. It's like a management issue I was talking about. You're going to have people who are bad managers wherever you are. There are going to be some crappy duties you're going to have to put up with that you don't like. I could name things with every job I've had that, oh man, if you just get rid of that part of it, it'd be a great job. But that part of it is really with almost everything you do. And then, it really applies to firearms too, when you think about it. When you get a new firearm, or you've got the hots for one, just be aware. Think about it. Maybe your wallet's a little too light, but yet you're excited about a new firearm, and you're going to overspend, or you're going to have to pull out the plastic or something to buy it when you, well, that didn't mean anything. I mean, a lot of people use plastic for everything, right, these days. And I do for a lot of things, but I don't never owe anything on it. I pay it off, but a couple times a month. But just know yourself. Know yourself. Look at your firearms collection, whatever it is you collect, whatever you do. The thing you were so excited about a year ago or 6 months ago you got, and now you haven't touched it for a while, right? That's going to happen with whatever firearm or anything else you get. The newness is going to wear off. Just be aware of that. I think it helps you control yourself in a lot of ways, the grass, yeah, the grass does appear greener in a lot of ways on the other side of the fence, as the old saying goes. But once you get there and you get to that grass, it's pretty much just like the grass you have where it gets old, whatever. And it's only greener for a little while. That's the thing. Now, sometimes that's not the case, but often that's the case, isn't it? And it helps you, I don't know, keep your sanity and not just bounce from one thing to another and never land anywhere and maybe never be content with anything, because that kind of comes from inside. You know, like I say, there's problems with everything, problems with everybody, problems with every job, every family, every company, every church, you name it, organization, everything. And if you don't realize that, what are you going to do? Bounce around, just looking for that perfect job, person, organization, company, whatever you want to name, the rest of your life, you know, it's not there. Yeah, it's not there. So that's my advice. And I expect you to send me a check for that advice. All right, 44 special. Let me see if I can hit the old coffin over there. I just love that sound. I'm going to try a red plate on the left. Now, I don't know if I can hit that or not. All right, I guess I can. Oh, I see a bowling pin down here that's not been dropped. Ooh. Let's hit the pig with a kinder, gentler bullet, 44 special. Yeah, that didn't hurt him as much. See, there you go again. Those 3 hits are like that. I mean, I don't know, I guess I could do it with the Magnum too, but it's just simpler to shoot a 44 special well. Or maybe I'm just totally wrong on everything I've ever said about the 44 special. Maybe it is just the most accurate round out there. And everybody that says that, they're just right. No. But no, I'm the one that's right. The thing is, here's why. Even if this is more accurate, 44 special for some reason, than the 44 Magnum, I don't know why that would be, or 357 or what, even if it is more accurate, I wouldn't know it's standing and shooting. Any shooting I do wouldn't, you know, I'm not steady enough. The only way you could determine that, it would be like so minimal, the difference, and you would have to establish that through sandbag, you know, shooting, resting on a bench and all that. So not just plinking around. It really does come down to it's just softer and sweet shooter. Also, I made a joke about said about the bullet. You know, it's a less punishing or a kinder, gentler bullet. Well, you all know this too, don't you? The bullet, let's see, now those are actually these Magnum. No, those are 240 grain, yeah. Well, let me see, the specials, what weight? They're a different weight, aren't they? Yeah, these are right. These are a lighter bullet. A lot of 44 specials are also 240 grain bullet. Now, the Federal load's 200, and that's a popular load for 44 special. But I've got some load. I load the same bullets. My hand loads the same bullet is exactly in a Magnum case and in a special case. Okay, now it happens to be these are a little bit lighter, these factory loads. But generally speaking, the classic 44 special load is also a 240 grain bullet. It's like 44 Magnum, 240 grain bullet. The bullets are essentially the same. So it's not a kinder, gentler bullet, right? What is it? It's a kinder, it's not even a kinder, gentler case or primer. What's the answer? Yeah, you're right. It's a kinder, gentler powder load, right? It's just less velocity. Yeah, less velocity. Makes all the difference, okay? Just like if someone gets hit like that versus really rears back and hits you really hard, it's the same fist, the same weight, you know, more force, more power. Man, I gotta start charging y'all for all this information though. Gotta get your addresses so I can invoice everybody. So I probably waxed philosophical enough. Anything else you're dying to know about? I hope you enjoyed the revolver. Speaking of revolvers, that big end frame video this week, the Model 28, pre-28. Yeah, same frame as this thing. Yeah, just in 357 mag. Neat old gun. Hard to believe. And I saw several comments where people had carried those. They're former police officers, retired highway patrolmen. And it's funny. Yep, it's a highway patrolman. I know one guy wrote he was a state trooper, Texas, I think. He carried that thing for 30 years or something, you know. So revolvers ruled for a long time, and 357 especially, and those big end frames a lot of times. So that's neat, the history behind those things. So that was fun. And the Dan Wesson, hope you enjoyed an encore with that baby. I really like that 1911. I think I'm just going to take that thing to gunsmith locally and see if you can get that magazine catch, you know, fixed and so it locked back, because it's just very weak. It's random, and with magazines which should be locking the slide back, it's not, and it doesn't seem to be any rationale to it. But I like that firearm a great deal, and I don't regret buying it a bit. I can get that fixed. And like I said in the video, where it hasn't malfunctioned that I recall at all, other than that. And I know that's a malfunction of sorts. But what really is a problem with a semi-automatic pistol is if that round is not making it up the ramp and hangs up for some reason. Because it can be so many different things. Your magazine, you know, could be the ramp. It's usually not these days. Or the bullet configuration, the load you're using. There's something about the gun, the mag, the spring, and you got to figure out what it is. And, you know, so you feel confident carrying that thing, especially with 1911s. They were designed for hardball, 230 grain hardball. And over the years, of course, there have been a lot of, you know, nice hollow points developed in 45 ACP and things like that, and different loads, different weight bullets, all that sort of thing, and then smaller 1911, shorter barrels, and so we modified the original John Browning design quite a bit for other, you know, to suit our purposes. And sometimes with a shorter slide or whatever, you can have issues. So, and then sometimes it's hard to figure out why that round is hanging up, why you're getting a double feed. You know, it just happens every now and then. You know, sometimes those are the worst problems. Like your car won't start like once a month. You know, you can't figure out what it is because you've changed everything around. Like with the firearm, you've tried a different magazine. It still occasionally does it. Okay, is it the extractor? Is it, you know, what the heck is it? So at least with this, it's not the actual firing of the round or the loading of the round into the chamber and that kind of thing. So I don't like it, you know, as, you know, if I carry it as a self-defense firearm, I'm not likely ever to expend the first 7 or 8 rounds and have to reload. Trainers who know what they're doing will tell you you're probably never going to have to reload. If you ever do find yourself in a defensive situation, you know, which is very unlikely, and then to have to unload or reload, it's really a bad day for you. You've really been playing with the odds. And not to say it couldn't happen, but it's extremely unlikely. But, you know, so anyway, I'll deal with that when it comes. So, can I shoot one more time before I let you go? All right. It's really good to have y'all here. And I guess I'll shoot Magnums my last 6 rounds. So I appreciate you coming out to the woods. Probably not quite as many ticks now here as we get closer to the fall, and the weather's more pleasant, so I expect more of you gathering out here. Okay. So before I let you. Oh, I was going to talk about the generator a little bit before I fire these last ones. I am looking around. Generators. That's another example. When you get into a different area, it's one advantage of having lived a while, though, and have been involved in all kinds of endeavors and companies and different things, is you learn that when there's an area you don't know a lot about, you're just more aware of it, and you're less likely to pretend you know a lot about it, right? It's the old Alexander Pope line, a little learning is a dangerous thing. Drink deep, or taste not the Pierian spring. I forget how the whole quote goes, but we use that a lot, don't we? Because some people who know a little bit are the most dangerous. Actually, what we mean is, they could be dangerous, but they're also the most obnoxious because they think they know it all, right? Someone who actually was a know-it-all, an obnoxious know-it-all, generally that just means they don't know very much, because there's something about just getting into an area that human beings tend to, many of us, we tend to think we're a genius a little too soon about that topic, whatever it is. We learn just enough to pump up our confidence, but we don't really know it. And so it can be dangerous. You're learning about investing, whatever it is, and you do stupid things because you need to take it to the next level. Well, I've been through all that stupidity so many times in my life. And I've had generators, but I got to studying and looking around, and oh man, the web, and looking at videos. And I just want a backup generator right now. I'm thinking about having a whole house, like a Generac, put in. I'm thinking about that too. But I want to just go ahead and get a, about a 3,500, 4,000, watt generator backup. I could keep the freezer and refrigerator going when there's a power outage or something, ice storm like we had, a bad one here one year. And I want an inverter, I think. An inverter seems to be the way to go, probably. Get more constant current, right? I don't know. You don't have to have the inverter. Now I've looked at the solar-powered ones, and those are pretty cool, but I don't know if it, where I live in the trees, I don't know if I could keep it going, I see the advantage in it. I love that technology, because I could charge it eventually, and there's just no end to how long you could use that. You're not dependent on gasoline. And then plus I want a propane one, a dual fuel or propane, because I have propane, I heat with propane, and I always have propane, and propane lasts forever, and it just would be less trouble, to have a propane generator. So I'm thinking I want and maybe y'all can help me if I haven't bought it by the time you see this in a day or two. Which I will not have, but so I'm thinking just something I could run the refrigerator and freezer and stuff, not necessarily everything in the house. So I've seen different stories on that. What power load you need? 3,500, 4,000, 5,000 maybe, just so you can run the full size refrigerator fine and freezer, and maybe some lights, and then. Just periodically run it for a couple hours and maybe run it again. I don't keep things frozen. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, propane and, just a portable generator. I've seen some pretty nice solar models, and you can charge them other ways too. I have a feeling I'm going to end up with one of those, maybe a smaller one of those, something to be cool to just take on the road, put in the car and different things. But and then you get the brand names. Everybody knows Honda generators are, I guess, one of the best, and quietest, and all that. They make great engines there, but you can't find those things anywhere. And I don't know, everybody makes a propane model. I've looked at Champion, kind of, and everybody's out. When you go to a big box store, too, they're out of them. They've got 3 or 4 left. And which ones do they have? They're the ones that are least likely to sell. I don't say nobody wants, but they're either too powerful or they're too small or whatever, or the brand nobody wants. You get that kind of deal. So anyway, I was kind of looking into that. And again, it's always interesting. It's like if you're searching for cameras or a new camera or something and you're investigating it. It's a jungle out there. So I feel for people looking for a new firearm. I've got this thing loaded lying here. If you don't know much about firearms, same old deal. Look at all the choices out there. And some are available, some are not. What do you want? What caliber and chambering? So we all go through that in different areas at different times. And you got the same issues with the marketing, you know. It's just not so simple that you can just, well, let me run to Home Depot and pick up a generator today. Well, you got the COVID thing, and you've got, you know, lack of supply on some things that affects it too right now. But then you've also got, okay, if I were to call, you name the hardware store, Ace Hardware, Lowe's, Home Depot, what are some of the Tractor Supply, you name whatever store you want. Okay, in a perfect world, I could call one of those up. I could walk in and find somebody who is above the age of 15 and has some experience that would know anything about generators, and that's not easy, is it? And ask, what do you think the best generator is? You know, here's kind of what I need. What do you think would be the best model? What would be the best model? You know, I can buy, you know, afford to buy whatever, you know, best model is in the category I'm looking for. So what do you recommend? Well, what are they going to recommend? I don't even know. I know I have a bit of an inkling of who carries what, but not totally. Well, I don't even have to step into any of the store. I don't even have to know what I know right now. I don't even have to have any. I could be even more ignorant right now about generators than I am. I could be totally ignorant about generators right now, and I could answer that. I could answer you what generator they're going to guide me towards at Tractor Supply or Home Depot or Lowe's or Ace Hardware, whatever the hardware store is or whatever the place is. What are they going to sell me? What are they going to tell me is probably good? Whatever line they carry, right? Whatever line of generators they have an agreement with and that they sell. You know, if they don't sell Honda generators, are they going to say anything great about Honda? Probably not. Or Champion, if that's not their brand, because they have deals with I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's the way it works. If I've got a big hardware store and a chain, and I want to sell generators in my store, I'm going to look at a company, and I can find a company that makes good generators and say, hey, can you supply me with generators in my 3,900 or my 39 hardware stores around the country? Can you keep me stocked in a supply of generators, all sizes? You know, guaranteed delivery. Can you get them to me? You know, in parts and everything. And I find a company, and so what would be your price if I buy, you know, I don't know, 8,000 generators a year? You know, what's your price on this model if I buy that many? And I may go to some other company, Champion or a different one. Okay, so if I buy 10,000 of those this year, what can you sell to me for? And they negotiate. Well, we can sell them for this. We can't match that price unless we take off this sound reducer off. Then I think take off the wheels. You know, don't provide the wheels. Make that extra, or whatever it might be. Or the warranty can't be for 2 years. It can only be a year. Then we can maybe match that price. So they go through all those negotiations. I don't even know how it works exactly, but I know kind of how that works. And so, you know, that adds to it. And then if you watch a video, here I am pontificating again. But if I go to videos, and I've watched videos on some generators, well, same deal. Quite often, the person doing a review of the generator is being provided that generator. You know, they're sponsored by that company or something. So anyway, we all go through the same process trying to figure out things in this world, in today's world. It's a great world because we have all these things available that we need and want, you know, to be useful, make our lives simpler. But we also have to navigate the world of marketing, right? Don't we? Just like if I were sponsored by Smith & Wesson, okay? You know, I mean, how would you, anything I tell you about revolvers, you'd have to take it with a grain of salt. You'd probably have to take it with a grain of salt anyway, right? But, you know, we're not sponsored by any gun companies, not one iota, never have been. So we don't have that as an issue. But when you go into hardware stores and just everything else, read, like I say, even some videos, it's obvious that they are And sometimes it's funny, just again, just from my experience and knowing what goes on in videos and YouTube and that world, I can tell too when there is some kind of support for this brand of generator, but it's not talked about. Or I can tell when they're promoting something and it doesn't seem natural. You know, it doesn't seem natural. Now, sometimes you can be wrong about that, because I know people have been wrong about us, thinking that we're getting, you know, sponsored by some gun company, you know, and of course they've been dead wrong from the beginning. But so sometimes it can appear that way, and it's not the case. But then often it is the case, and your gut feeling is correct, right? So anyway, that's what I'm looking at. That. Anybody has any input in that? You know, generators. I just want one to have around to crank up. That's easy to start, probably electric start. You know, a nice one in that range. The thing is, it would be easy to, as with some things, you can just overbuy, and you know you've covered the bases. I remember I did that with my AK, my first AK or two. I was like, I don't know, this is a jungle out here with AK-47. I don't know which one's better, all these arguments about which is better and which is compatible. I'm just going to get an Arsenal, because nobody disagrees that Arsenals are great AKs, and that's what I did, you know. Well, with a generator, now I could have the home installation done too, and that would take care of that. But as far as having a portable generator that would, you know, run, you know, a good bit, you know, that I would want to have, run refrigerator, freezer, and things like that, a few lights. The thing is, you could just get the biggest one. I saw something the other day. I was at Northern Tools, I think. They're like model, you know, like 8,000 watts and all that kind of thing, or 10,000 watts. Well, yeah, I could do that. That'd run it. My fear is getting one too small. But then what have I done? You know, the whole purpose, you know, is negated, because I know if you get a generator that's not, you can plug your refrigerator into it, but it doesn't run the compressor. You know, if it's just, what, I don't know, 1,500 watts, or if it's just not enough. Where you could get one of those that's 10,000 watts and it'd run anything in a house, maybe everything in a house, if you could get it all plugged in, right? But the thing is, you're using way more gasoline than you need, right? You got this monstrosity running, sitting out in the driveway, and it's probably louder and is sucking up the gas that you don't need. You know, so I mean, if you're going to do that, I mean, from my perspective, I might as well just wire the whole house into one. That one's probably the same size that you'd wire the whole house into. So I just have that done. So anyway, just a portable one like that to run what I said, and you know, reliable, electric starts easy. You can rely on it. Runs on propane, and I'm good to go. And anyway, it's a jungle out there. And I'm just another chimp out there swinging through the vines trying to figure things out, right? All right, let's fire these Magnums. Oh, well, you know, I haven't missed much. I need to miss something. What should I miss? Let's really hit the cowboy hard with the Magnum. You want to? He's remained unscathed all day. Am I still recording? Yeah, okay. Make sure y'all are still there. Oh man, dead center. Let's hit him again. Boom. And let's hit the hog real hard. Oh man. Let's see if we can put another one on the gong. Oh, we did. How about, oh, this swinging bowling pin needs some lead in it. It's a Magnum. And I just feel like that hog needs another bullet. Oh, yeah. And that's all of them. Wow. Well, you know, I really should not miss very often with this thing. You know what I did before the video? I got to looking at it, and I thought, you know, the last time I had this out in a video, it may have been in a Sunday video, I don't know, 10 weeks, 20 weeks ago, I think I did. And it was not hitting where I expected. And I remember I looked at the sight. Some of you will probably remember this. that have a better memory than I have. And the rear sight was up pretty much. And I remember at the time, yeah, I did. I think I told you that I had been using on some long range shooting, and I had actually raised the rear sight the more I thought about it, but I never did change it. Well, before this video, I looked at that again and I said, I'm not too smart, but it sort of came to mind. That sight's still up. I think I had trouble hitting with that the last time I had it out. So I just cranked it down, and I brought it back up about a turn or half a turn. It was kind of the baseline for it. And I took a couple shots before you all arrived today. So let me see, I think that's where that's supposed to be. And yeah, it seemed to be right on. And so it is, that's where it needs to be. When I was doing international handgun metallic silhouette competitions back in the 70s with it, IHMSA, I've told you all before, this is what I would do. I'd shoot like where it is right here at the chickens. They were at 50 meters, and pigs were at 100 meters. And I think I wouldn't move it for the pigs even. I would just hold a little higher if I thought I needed to. But then when I got to the turkeys at 150 meters, I would raise the rear sight. I think it was 2 turns. I didn't do it by click, just 2 turns of that screw. And then on the rams at 200 meters, which is 220 yards, I would raise it four turns, total turns. Pretty simple, just 2 and 4, the only changes I'd make in it. And now I didn't hit every time, but I knew that was pretty close. And if I missed, it was pretty much me. And of course, you miss a lot. If you were seeing those matches, it's now you see me shoot at the animals, but it's further away. It's I mean, 200 meters is a long way to hit one of these rams. I mean, the most I'm really shooting at that kind of stuff here with my range is about 100 yards, 80 and 100. And so you're talking twice the distance. And the toughest ones were the turkeys. I mean, I think probably hit as many rams out at 200 meters as I did turkeys at 150, because that body on the turkey really is not that big. And 150 meters is whatever that is in yards, 160 yards or something. That was 165 yards, I don't know, but they were tough. And you would hit maybe, I don't know, what was a good run, and I would just shoot standing with one of these. You know, if I hit, gosh, I don't know, I might get out of 10 chickens, like, or was it 10 or 5 we shot? I might get half the chickens or something, and a third or half of the pigs maybe, or get lucky sometimes and hit almost all the pigs. I mean, you just didn't hit them all. You might just hit 5 targets total. That's right, it was 40 targets. So it was 10 at each distance. So you might just hit 10 out of 40 targets. Or you may just be very average, hit 5, I don't know, just standing and shooting. And there would be people that come out to do it. Was frustrating. I think it's one reason it didn't grow more, and a lot of you are not even familiar with it. But there would be people that come out, they bring out their Ruger, and they shoot with it, they hunt with it even, and just one of their favorite guns. They think they know how to shoot the thing, 44 mag Ruger or something. And it hit nothing out of 40 targets. Literally nothing. They just, always wanted to try this, And you could tell they're not poor shots, they're good form, but they might hit nothing or hit 1, out of 40. It's tough. It was just tough. It was hard. I mean, I worked at it, and I didn't hit that many quite often. And the thing was, you didn't know always where you were going. Where the bullet was going if you missed. Depending on the backstop and the grass and whatever, you could be shooting at the chickens even, and you really can't. Maybe you don't have a spotter with a spotting scope, and you don't know where you're missing necessarily, and you don't even know where to hold yet. You haven't shot at those distances very much. So it's a very tough discipline or form of competition until you really got your gun sighted in and you practiced, and then at that point maybe you get hit enough of the targets, hit often enough to keep it interesting. So the problem with that endeavor is, well, I guess they still do it, is that it's hard to get to the point where you hit enough to keep it interesting. I guess what I'm saying, like the old basketball. If you got on a basketball court And if you get out past 10 feet, you hit 1 out of 100, it's not going to hold your interest, right? Whereas if you're hitting, like 5 or 6 or 7 out of 10, it's more fun, it's more interesting. But anyway, a little information there about the old International Handgun Metallic Silhouette competition, and I shot that a fair amount with this gun. I had it. It was my gun, my 44. I loaded my own ammo for it, and that's what I used in competition. I think I came in second a time or two. I didn't. I was not a force at that at that game at that time. I could do better now, and I became a better shooter though. I think through the 70s because of that kind of stuff and shooting different types of discipline. Then when I got into, of course, it was later. It was all late 80s where I got into action shooting. But those different disciplines help you. Trigger control, holding steady, and all that kind of thing. So anyway, blabbed enough. I'm going to let you go. I'll see you next week out here in the woods. I hope you show up. Okay, I really do, and appreciate your coming around, watching videos. Still posting 3, 4 a week, and you should be catching all of them. I know people are having a hard time keeping up because apparently notifications and things just don't work well. And I've noticed even suggestions and things like that. I don't want to accuse social media of shadow banning or anything like that. But I see a change. I see a change in suggested and recommended videos, and if it's a gun video. So the people you like to watch, which probably isn't us, but hopefully it is for some of you, you need to keep track of what they're posting, it looks like. So I will talk to you later. I'll see you on YouTube, okay? Life is good.